My virginity or even my sexual healing does not equate to my worth. Women are not our hymens. We are not our sexual perfection. We do not lose pieces of ourselves and become incomplete. Hi beautiful people! First of all, I wanted to thank my community so deeply for being such amazing supporters of God is Grey. Ever since I announced my pregnancy, 50 new people pledged to my Patreon, and I have a huge box overflowing with baby gifts. I'm so touched by this, and as soon as I set up my house, my mom's gonna come to town and help me. I want to invite you guys in, unwrap the presents with you, and celebrate together. Also, to continue your support, Patreon is a game changer for me. We've still got the online registry on Amazon, and Jimmy, Mr. Atheist, has Grey as Bae tees available on Teespring. And of course, Mr. Atheist is splitting the profits for me and the baby. And if you don't have cold, hard cash, it is all good. Our community is incredible at liking, sharing, and engaging in the comment section, and all of those things help me out, so thank you guys so much. That said, today I want to address an Instagram post by author, teacher, and co-founder of Messenger International, Lisa Bevere. I encourage a handful of you to please forward Lisa this video and encourage her to watch it. I'd love to have a deeper conversation with her because I know the last thing she intended to do was to hurt women. But I do want her to realize how the words in her Instagram post can really harm those of us that are coming out of, healing from, or still stuck in purity culture. On October 2nd, Lisa posted an ebook titled You're Worth the Wait. Underneath it reads, "There's a danger in giving ourselves away too soon. We forfeit our dignity, honor, and strength. If, like me, you've known the bitterness of regret, know this: you can experience the joyous flood of mercy. Ultimately, you are worth the wait." This is so bad. Before we dive into why this is so harmful, I have two things to mention. Number one, God is Grey community, please forgive me. I will be speaking strictly about heterosexual cisgender relationships. The reason is simply for the sake of time and to properly address this specific ebook. And two, just to be clear, I am not out to drag Lisa. With just a peruse of her podcast, it's clear she leans into tough topics. She's fearless in her pursuit of truth and in her encouragement that we as Christians share our stories, traumas, and unique walks with God. On platform, Lisa is powerful and earnest. Lisa's a feminist, a humanitarian, and a mystical Christian who believes in charismatic gifts like prophecy, healing, and a renewed life through the Holy Spirit. I do not agree with everything she says, but I ultimately respect and honor the minister that she is. However, this ebook is a horror show. I hated it to the bottom of my heart. So again, Lisa, I'm not here to drag you. I know that you have a rich history, and I deeply appreciate that you're so open about your sexual past. If you feel remorse or regret, I do not deny that as your experience. But for me and many others raised in the church, the source of our trauma was not sex, but purity culture itself.
So how do girls who are modest view the immodest girls?
I think it's just hard to have respect for them because when you see someone dressing like that, you kind of think they don't respect themselves.
Like they're very insecure. You can tell.
It's sad.
In the evangelical church, I was taught beautiful things like how to read the Bible, how to prophesy, and that women could preach. But I was also taught that God cries when you masturbate, and that it's my responsibility as a woman to protect men from their lust by dressing modestly. As a virgin, saving herself for marriage, I knew God loved me because I was a virgin. I was never praised for my good deeds, my charity, my gifts of prophecy, as much as I was for being pure. If a teenage girl's form was too voluptuous, she'd be given an oversized t-shirt in church to protect men of all ages from their own lusts.
How you dress affects me.
You're out running, you're at the gym,
You're even at church.
And in those moments, I immediately feel something is wrong with me.
If there's one thing I could say to you, it's this.
Your modesty is a gift to me.
As a skinny beanpole of a teenager, I had no idea how ashamed and humiliated those girls were of their bodies, drenched in those t-shirts.
And so I would wear this like shirt of shame because guys are visual and we are emotional, and my body is just, whew, We need to literally put a tarp on that thing.
I'd also never been violated or assaulted. It didn't occur to me that victims of sexual violence had to endure messages like, we forfeit our dignity, honor, and strength, when the choice to give themselves away was never autonomous. I didn't know my voluptuous 15-year-old friend was assaulted by one of our church leaders, and that when he broke her hymen, she believed it was her body to blame for being a stumbling block.
You are putting men in a situation of temptation, and if they fall, you will have some responsibility for that.
It causes sin, and when you cause sin, that's a sin in itself.
It contributed to me staying silent as a victim. It made me blame myself.
Lisa, I know your words were intended to be powerful and uplifting, but I'm going to read these to you through the lens of a purity culture survivor, which I am and many people in the God is Great community are. There are 3 elements to this ebook that sting, both women and men. Number 1, Lisa is a proud mama to 4 sons. That said, I'm really surprised by your minimizing portrayal of men's sexuality in this post. You wrote, men are not interested in knowing more thoroughly those they have already known too quickly. It is almost impossible to begin with sexual contact and then upgrade to a deeper realm of intimacy. Is this to imply your sons are either given permission or could, in good conscience, disregard a woman who had sex with them too soon? Lisa, you have to understand that the message this brings men is that a woman's worth, or as you put it, her very dignity, honor, and strength are in her purity. You've presented a double standard. And because over 80% of unmarried Christians are sexually active, that is a lot of Christian men going into the world disregarding and shaming the women that are actually willing to have sex with them out of wedlock. After all, your words, those women forfeited their dignity.
When you don't even respect yourself, how do you expect someone, especially of the opposite sex, to respect you?
Also, there's the emotional end. By saying women crave intimacy, romance, and passion to be known, you're minimizing men. Craving intimacy and love is the human condition. That is not dependent on gender. Number 2, Lisa, your language diminishes women to our sexuality alone. You know this. Women have so much more to offer than our bodies. And I've never heard a pastor call a man sexually broken for being sexually active. You say, when you are broken sexually, it makes it incredibly difficult for you to give yourself completely because you are not complete. My virginity or even my sexual healing does not equate to my worth. Women are not our hymens. We are not our sexual perfection. We do not lose pieces of ourselves and become incomplete. Side note, imagine this message hitting the ears of an assault victim. She's incomplete? No, she's not. Also, my naked body is not the unveiling of myself as a person. You say women were never meant to be thrown away, but embraced, especially after completely giving, unveiling, and revealing ourselves. To be nude or even to have sex is not to be completely given away, unveiled, and revealed. The truth is what Rob Bell says. It's easy to take off your clothes and have sex. People do it all the time. But opening up your soul to someone, letting them into your spirit, thoughts, fears, future, hopes, dreams, that is being naked. And number 3, women love sex too. When you say, if a man is not willing to wait for you today, he will not wait around for you tomorrow. That's why women lose when they give in. Sex, when presented to women in church, is often not portrayed as an ecstatic experience, but as a tool to manipulate men. What exactly do we lose when we give in? That the man won't marry us? That he won't respect us? And yes, that's very likely considering what we teach our Christian men.
Short term, those are the kind of girls I want to be with because they can get more from them, but in the long term, that's not who they want to be with.
I have been far better treated by non-Christian men because of that. Whatever your moral stance on premarital sex, these gendered ideas about libido make a lot of us feel insecure and crazy. I know Christian women who are sex-starved because their husbands were taught that they were the ones that would want sex, and the women would just spread her legs and tolerate it. I know you haven't directly said this, but gendered desire is prevalent in purity culture, and I see it in this post. For anyone who who's curious about my response on this, go to @GodIsGray and check out my response to Lisa's post. Now, I'm commonly misunderstood as a fake Christian with no sexual standards. That's because some people believe that just because I reject purity culture, that I have no sexual morality at all. This couldn't be further from the truth. To the contrary, I have a higher level of sexual integrity and accountability than I have in my entire life. So for next week, I'd like to dive into the few statements of this ebook that I do agree with and detail for you all how I now live out my Christian sexuality. Integrity is not easy. It's not anything goes. There's actually a lot of rules. So I'm excited to share my perspective with you. So that's it. God is Great community, please share this video with Lisa. I'd love to have a deeper conversation with her and figure out how those who come from promiscuity and have had their heart broken in this way, and those of us who came from perfection and purity culture and have both been hurt as a result, can align and figure out a path to true sexual integrity within our Christianity. Anyway, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, donate to my Patreon or Venmo if you can. I love you guys. God bless.